Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Calabasas City Council meeting of August 26, 2026. I'm James Bezaja, Mayor of Calabasas, joined tonight by Mayor Pro Tem Ed Albrecht, Council members David Shapiro, Alicia Weintraub, and Peter Kraut. And we are now going to start our meeting. I'd ask Captain Carr from the Lost Hills Sheriff Station to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, everyone will please rise, raise the flag, place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Okay. Report on closed session. Pam, do you have any report to make from closed session tonight?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. We did meet in closed session to discuss the items listed on the agenda, including conference with labor negotiator, an item of potential litigation, as well as the employee evaluation of the city manager, but no reportable action was taken on any of the items.
Thank you. All right, now is a time for general public comment. At this time, members of the public may speak on any item not on the agenda within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. You'll have 3 minutes or less to do so. First, I'm going to turn to the in-person speakers. If you need to fill out a speaker card, there in the back. Mark Levinson.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Thank you. Mark Levinson. I live in Los Angeles, member of the Chamber of Commerce. Just a couple of things to report today. As everyone knows, Mayor's Luncheon honoring James Bezajian is tomorrow, and thank goodness we also know it's going to be indoors and not outdoors. Look forward to seeing all of you there. It's going to be a great event. We have a lot of things going, and I know the Mayor has a lot of surprises for all of us as well. On September 8th, our Education Committee is meeting. It meets by Zoom, and the speaker will be Dan Stepanowski, who is the superintendent of schools. And he's always good, always great. A couple of years ago, he was elected the superintendent of the year for the state of California, and we're honored to have him. And then a little later on September 30th, our women's group is meeting. They, as you know, that was a fairly new addition to our programs. They were going to be meeting. They're talking about hairstyling, makeup care, demonstrations on clothing exchange, and they have a speaker who has written a book. It's Finding Diamonds, and it's open to women, not to men. And while we're here, I have someone is a member of the Chamber of Commerce that I would like to introduce to you.
Okay, so let me, Wendy Silver-Hale,
Yeah,
why don't we give, she's a separate speaker, so just restart the timer.
Yeah, she did fill out a separate card.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Hello, everyone. I know some of you. I am a realtor for 50 years now, and I have worked and managed before in the wonderful city of Calabasas, which I love. And fortunately, I was able to open up a new office here in Calabasas. It's Innovate Realty, and some of you came to our open house, which was just last month. I love Calabasas, and I, to this day, remember when, in 1991, I remember seeing on the news that the city of Calabasas broke away and has been led by wonderful people and done amazing things. And I do believe, and I'm very involved with governmental affairs. I'm past president of Southland Regional Association of Realtors, 11,000 members, and I'm on governmental affairs, and I'm key contact for all kinds of elected officials. And that is a big part of what I do with real estate, and I believe in serving our stakeholders in our communities. And a lot of people could take a lesson from what's going on here. Innovate Realty, very briefly in 1 minute and 44 seconds. It is, I know a lot of real estate companies and brokerages. I've worked for so many of them in my years. It truly is different. It is owned by a woman, which is one thing that's very different. And we just opened up 4 new offices. We keep having open houses and ribbon cuttings. And it really is geared to community service and for truly, truly getting involved and for giving more for and to our agents and our stakeholders, people we hold very, very dearly. And it is my hope, I have been attending some of your governmental affairs committee meetings, and it is my hope that I can get even more involved. And with that, I'll let you go with 56 seconds to spare. I thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. We have other speakers too, and I would ask you to come up and state your name and city of residence. Casey Corbin.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Casey Corbin. I am a resident of nearby Hidden Hills, California. We have a common bond in sharing a zip code, 91302, and much like many residents in the city of Hidden Hills, we regularly shop, oftentimes we work, we leisure here in the city of Calabasas. This is something I've been speaking to my city council about, and that is the issue of flock cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, Calabasas has been plagued with an invasive species. It's black, it's about 12 inches high, 6 inches wide. It often procreates around intersections. Oftentimes, if you see a dish van coming around, all of a sudden you have what are called flock cameras, and I'm here to try and persuade you to terminate your contract and dismantle any flock systems here. Flock Surveillance Network does not merely capture information related to criminal investigations. It records and stores information regarding the movements and travel patterns of ordinary law-abiding residents, creating a searchable database that can be accessed and shared among numerous law enforcement agencies. Not just law enforcement agencies. This can include homeowners associations and private shopping centers. This is to say Caruso affiliated may have access to the Flock system. And in the city of Hidden Hills, Covered 6, our private security vendor. The Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution exists precisely to prevent this type of broad government surveillance. It protects citizens against unreasonable searches and seizures and reflects our nation's longstanding belief that the government should not monitor the daily activities of innocent people without due process and judicial oversight. When information about residents' movements is collected, retained, and made available through a centralized database, privately owned one at that, the line between legitimate law enforcement and warrantless surveillance becomes increasingly blurred. California provides even stronger privacy protections. Article 1, Section 1 of the California Constitution expressly identifies privacy as an inalienable right. Californians do not surrender that right simply because they drive on public roads. The collection, retention, and sharing of residents' location data by a private corporation and a network of outside agencies raises serious questions about whether these constitutional protections are being adequately respected. My concerns are heightened by reports of unauthorized access to flock data, information sharing beyond local jurisdictions, security vulnerabilities, and documented instances in which license plate reader data has been used to monitor individuals engaged in lawful activities, including political protests and the exercise of other constitutional rights. I see time is wrapping up, so I just want to make it very clear. In recent weeks, the Los Angeles Police Department terminated its contract with Flock Safety, citing this issues with civil liberties. In addition to that, 5 police officers in the state of Georgia were dismissed from duties for unauthorized access to the Flock Safety system, and the system is accessible by members of Flock Safety, including the CEO, who was previously caught using these systems to watch over a Jewish girls' gym. Just stuff to think about. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Okay. Next, we have Christopher Hartz.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Christopher Hartz. I'm here with my fiancée, Sarah. I'll summarize our case with the city. Some time ago, a friend of ours died and left his house in Calabasas. We tried to, overnight, when he died, they declared the house to be an immediate danger to the neighborhood, even though it's surrounded by empty lots and a forest. They then condemned it and refused to let us sell it. We had several buyers who offered to fix anything, but told us that the city refused to talk to them. Next, the city had a court hearing for a receivership at a time when Sarah and I were out of the country. We were never notified of that hearing. The receiver took the house, sold it to one of the buyers that we had discovered. It sold it. We never got a penny of the sales thing. Next, they, not satisfied with that, they're now going after us for legal costs incurred by the city, over $48,000. Sarah is 70 years old and works in a grocery store. This is who you're taking this money from. I am in my 80s. This isn't the first time a government has taken my home. I was born a Jew in Nazi Germany in the 1940s. The government took the homes away from my family, threw us out in the street, and many of them many of them didn't make it. I'm a survivor. So I had hoped that I'd left all that behind me, but apparently not. For the citizens of Calabasas, we had 3 realtors tell us that this kind of action can be started at over the half of the houses in Calabasas. They can find something wrong and pull this kind of things, secret hearings and whatnot. That's it on me. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'd remind the public that we cannot, generally speaking, with rare exception, we cannot respond to anything. So lack of a response is just because of that on public comment. Next, we have Sarah Baisley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sarah Baisley. My partner, Chris Hartz, and I inherited the house you spoke about. So you've heard a lot of the issues raised already. We addressed the council recently on August 14th about the hearing to pay $48,699 in legal costs to the city, and the hearing was on August 18th. I was served about this hearing the day after the last city council meeting in June. You were on a summer recess until August 14th. That was my first opportunity to talk to you. I asked the council to delay the action and meet privately about the matter. There are questions and concerns I have to raise about the practices of your firm for this, also the costs of the receivership. And as he said, I never received any proceeds. We attended the court hearing on August 18th about the legal costs. I asked for a continuance to prepare an objection as well as to seek reasonable legal counsel. I was denied because I had not filed an objection to the action by August 5th. Even though I was representing myself, the judge said I should have known about statutory law. I received a letter from the city's firm on August 15th about the August 5th deadline to submit an objection. I tried to rectify problems with the property with 3 different buyers. The first 2 attempts failed with delays. The third backed out at escrow with me last December, then went on to buy it from the receivership. He paid outstanding costs on the property, the tear down permit, and completed tearing down the property. Why weren't the legal costs addressed then? I'm troubled that the judge said in court last Tuesday that the city's firm obviously gave the city a reduced rate for the hours spent. Not sure what that has to do with legal issues at stake. I question the hours spent. For instance, the firm repeatedly sent documents and notices to 3 different addresses for me when I've always been at the same address in Topanga. The firm has now known where I've been since 2019. Some of you have been following this since 2012. I believe we all want to put this behind us and not spend more time and costs in court. The Saturday is my 70th birthday. I want to enjoy time I have left with my partner and not be mired in legal actions and costs. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. Next speaker is Joe Freese. Joe?
Sorry, I'm getting a little hard of hearing as I get older. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and everyone here tonight. I'm excited to share the 13th annual Calabasas Film Festival will take place despite the fact that we lost the theater. And we're incredibly grateful for the continued support of the city of Calabasas, along with our wonderful sponsors, Cadillac of Calabasas, Poppy Bank, and Lavelle. We're also excited to welcome 2 new partners this year, Las Virgenes Municipal Water District and Xperi. Our full festival schedule will be announced next week, but I wanted to give everyone a little preview. We'll open the festival on Wednesday with a wonderful movie called Atonement, which is set in the backdrop of the Iraqi War. Also, we are going to show another film that night called The Leader, which is made and produced and directed by a Calabasas resident producer and festival alumni. Our Thursday, we're thrilled to present the U.S. premiere of a film called I Play Rocky by Peter Farrelly, who directed Green Book. And this year, we're also excited to be bringing festival screenings to the Motion Picture Television Fund Theater and Viewpoint School. Saturday, we'll return outdoors for our special screening of the classic The Goonies. We have some surprises in store there. Throughout the weekend, we'll also showcase an incredible lineup of short films, and as always, we'll close out the festival on Sunday by celebrating the next generation of filmmakers with our student film program. We can't wait to welcome everyone back September the 23rd through the 27th. We hope to see everybody at the festival. As always, there's a party event after every film, so please come, please enjoy yourself. It's all meant for the city of Calabasas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Before I turn to the city clerk for remote participation, is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak in public comment on an unagendized item who has not filled out a card? Okay. Now, the state of California, in its wisdom, has forced cities to bear the costs of doing remote participation, even though they're not allowed to do unfunded mandates. They still do it, I guess. So we'll turn to the city clerk. Is anyone in the audience remotely? Okay, so we can move on. We're going to go on to presentations. Do you have it down there for the next one? Okay, I'm going to come down there. And the council, when I'm done, can join for a group photo. Okay. So tonight we're recognizing lifeguards, and I'm going to read to you a little bit about why we're recognizing them. We're proud to recognize 2 Calabasas Tennis and Swim Center lifeguards, Shane O'Shaughnessy and Leanne Sami. This is for their quick and courageous response during a medical emergency. On July 25th, David Gaudio was playing tennis when witnesses saw him beginning to sway and drop his racket. His knees gave out, causing him to fall and strike his head. Those nearby initially feared that he was experiencing a cardiac emergency. Shane and Leanne immediately responded. Drawing upon their training, they provided aid, directed responding paramedics to Mr. Gaudio's location, and helped ensure that he received medical attention as quickly as possible. When our deputy director spoke with Mr. Gaudio the following Monday, he shared that he had suffered a stroke and that the lifeguard's quick actions helped save his life. Shane and Leanne, your preparation, professionalism, and ability to remain calm during a critical emergency made a profound difference. On behalf of the City of Calabasas and the City Council and the entire community, thank you for your outstanding service and your dedication to the safety of our residents and facility members. Mr. Gaudio is with us this evening. At this time, I'd like to invite him to the podium to say a few words, and then invite my City Council colleagues to join us for a photo. Yes.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for inviting me. I've been a resident of Woodland Hills for 33 years, but I've been also a member of the Calabasas Tennis and Swim Center for several years. And on that Saturday last month, yes, I was playing and suddenly just collapsed. And basically, it was very fuzzy and hazy for me for the next hour or so. I basically woke up in the hospital having been told that I had had a stroke. And it was because of the swiftness of the help of the lifeguards and everyone else around me at the time that they got to me very quickly. And as a result, even though I had had a stroke, I suffered basically no ill effects. So it was quite providential, and I wanted to thank them in person since I don't really remember who they were when it happened to me. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, well, are Shane and Leanne, are they here? Could they just come up? If you'd like to say something? Would either of you like to say anything? No? Okay. Well, we're going to take a group photo, so why don't the council come down here, and the three of you can come over here, and we'll take a group photo with your certificates that we have for you. Everybody in there. We're going to take a couple with the camera, and then we're going to take a couple with the phone, okay? Here we go. Everybody. On three, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Stay put. We're going to do another one. 1, 2, and 3. Last one. Let me get some with the phone, please. All right. Everybody looking at me on 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do one more, and last one. Thank you. Oh, yes, yes. I saw it. Okay. I didn't have any other public speaker cards on that one, so we'll move on. We're going to recognize our 2026 city retirees. Tonight we have the opportunity to recognize and thank a very special group of employees who have recently retired from the city of Calabasas. And now I'm going to go down there and call them up, and then we'll take the council pictures individually and with them as a group. Okay, I'd like to call up the following individuals, and they can stand at the podium for now. Excuse my raspy voice, by the way. It's been gone for like a month, and I keep talking, and it never comes back. Ruben Flores, our senior code enforcement officer, 24 years of service. I don't know if they're all here. Okay. Barbara Lockwood, our city librarian, 19 years. Tom Bartlett, city planner, 22 years. Monica Schinder, permit center supervisor, 23 years. Kathy Milbrand, recreation coordinator, 19 years. We have a few who could not make it tonight. Ron Allers, our chief financial officer, 7 years. Sparky Cohen, building official for 20 years. Johnny Ray Agee, Maintenance Inspector, 20 years, and Jeff Campbell, Deputy Community Services Director, 4 years. So while each of you has taken a different path, served in different departments, and contributed over different lengths of time, you share something very important: a commitment to serving Calabasas and helping make our city a better place. Please know that your work has touched all aspects of city operations and ultimately the lives of the residents and people we serve. While retirement marks the end of one chapter, it also gives us a moment to reflect on the difference you have made during your time with the city. The success of an organization is built over time by people who show up to do their jobs with care, support their colleagues, and remain committed to serving the community. And each of you has been an important part of that success. On behalf of the City Council and the City of Calabasas, we extend our sincere appreciation for your service, your dedication, and the many contributions you've made throughout your careers. We hope you leave knowing that your work mattered, that you made a lasting difference, and you'll be missed by the colleagues and community you've served. Congratulations on your retirement. We wish you the best in this new chapter of your lives, and thank you for everything you've given to the City of Calabasas. I'd like to, before we take our photos, if you'd like to say a few words upon your retirement, any of you, please feel free to take the podium. And if not, then I'll invite my colleagues down here, and we're going to take individual photos and then a group photo.
All right, everybody, I'm going to take a couple, and then we're going to take a couple with the phone real fast, okay? 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do one more. 1, 2, 3. Last one. 1, 2, and 3. The two-phone life. All right, everybody, same drill. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and last one. 1, 2, and 3. All right, everybody, same drill, looking up here. Here we go on 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do another one. 1, 2, and 3. Last one. Stay put. All of our technology. Here we go. Look it up here at me. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do another one. And last one. 1, 2, and 3. All right, everybody up here looking at me. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3. Last one. 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do another one. 1, 2, and 3. And last one. 1, 2, and 3. All right, everybody, looking at me. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do another one. 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna do one more. 1, 2, and 3. All right, everybody. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, and 3. One group. Doing it with the whole group? Yeah. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Here we go on 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna do another one. 1, 2, and 3. We're gonna do one more. 1, 2, and 3. All right. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Last one. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you, everybody.
Oh. Okay. Okay, we're going to go on to our next item, which is the Calabasas Rotary Club Annual Report. Who is, Bet, are you giving that? Okay.
I'm trying to say goodbye to these lovely people that have helped us spend. Just want to say good evening, Mayor Bazagian, City Council members, city staff. Thank you so much for having us here today. And I have a presentation, if it's there, I hope. And because I really want to speak to you today about an amazing program that we work with the city. Where is it? Oh, keep talking. All right. Yes, I will keep talking. I don't have a copy of it in front of me, so it really helps to see it. But this is an amazing partnership we have with the City Council. And my name is Beth Hall. I have the honor of being the president of the Rotary Club of Calabasas this year. And I'm actually standing in on behalf of Manny Fernandez. He truly wanted to be here, but he's out of state today. And he is actually the founding member of the Rotary Club of Calabasas, executive director, and the chair of our charitable foundation, which covers this. So, thank you. We're just going to talk, and I will talk as fast as I can, what the Neighbors in Need program actually is, the types of grants there are, how it's administered, which is really important, why it's needed, and who the recipients are. So what is it? We call it, and I just fondly and short. But this is a program that was put together by the city of Calabasas. They saw a big need. And as around 2006, a program came into being in 2007. When they put the program together, the city council saw that there was a need for it to be administered by an outside resource. They came to the Rotary Club of Calabasas, and we happily said yes. And if you see, it's almost 20 years now, which is a long time. So they partnered with the Rotary Club. We're all volunteers, and we gladly took on this project. Think not realizing how long and how it involved and how much it did evolve. But part of the reasoning is to take away from the city the possibility of conflict of interest, and it also avoids that potential embarrassing situation where an applicant is actually known to the city, and it also assures anonymity to the applicants. So we're asked what types of grants. There's a few different types. One of them is the outreach grant. This is the simple one, it's the smallest one, it's the newest one. And this can be granted pretty much immediately. And I will state, and I will state it a few times, there's certain criteria for any of these grants that we are scrupulous in insisting, and part of them is must be a Calabasas resident for at least 1 year. But this grant could help a family who can't put food on the table. It could be a medical need, such as the need for equipment, maybe crutches or something they just don't have funding, or a really expensive prescription. It could be the potential immediate loss of their utilities, using water, losing their water supply, electricity, etc. It could be for a bus or train pass to get a student to university, school, or someone to work. Vehicle repairs, such as a tire replacement, so that people can keep working and don't end up further in a bad situation, or education needs. The one we get asked for pretty much most of the time is the emergency grant, and it's for immediate need. Again, it could be extreme medical expenses, it could be the immediate loss of housing, someone's facing an eviction notice being put on their property, disconnection of utilities, it could be a whole bunch of these things. But that is the one that requires very quick movement on our part. So please, thank you. The support grant is very similar, but this one, it's around the same amount in a grant, but this one is given over a few months, and it's really to fill that gap, the gap that's been created because of a situation that was unforeseen and someone's fallen into a hole. But it's to prevent them getting evicted, losing their home. And that one's probably the second most used of all. And it can be for the same reason, but the situation is such that we will offer them the support grant and spread it out. So, how it's administered is, as we said, City of Calabasas created the partnership with the Rotary Club of Calabasas. The applicants reach out to us. And as I said, and I'll keep saying this, there are certain requirements that must be met. But they contact through a variety of ways. Sometimes they're referred by a city staff member. We've had this a couple of times recently. Sometimes it's word of mouth through a previous recipient. It's through our website or our telephone number. And we have had cards prepared that we've left at city areas, sheriff, and fire station. I meant to bring some tonight, and I left them at home. School districts, offices, boys and girls clubs. And we've received notice from all of these. We've had people referred. So thank you all for taking it seriously. This is how you reach us, our website, and that bar in the middle, click on it, and it takes you right to the forms and the information. Or to reach someone directly, you call this number. That number actually is forwarded onto my phone. So you do get a voice on the end, and I hope it's a friendly voice at the time. But when I see Rotary Club of Calabasas come up on my phone, I respond as fast as I can. And I say 24 hours, but it's usually faster, because we know it's taken a lot of courage for people to call us, and it's very needed. So the thing I try to get people to do, if you hear of someone in need, you know somebody's struggling, please don't wait. Just tell them, reach out quickly. Because once that notice is posted on the door, that's something really hard to undo. So please, if you know of someone, I just beg everybody, please refer them to us. This is one of the biggest things, confidentiality, and city council members can back us up on this. We take this extremely seriously. All applicants are absolutely short of complete confidentiality. And there's just a small group of us, very small, usually 3, that are trained to interview the applicants and take all the information. No names are ever shared with anyone outside that very narrow group. We do send a brief description of the need and the amount of the grant to our board, our foundation board, because they have the final say. It's okay, you can move it on. Thank you. You'll see an error, a typo on your printed, but it is correct here. We're often asked how many people we've helped, and it's 200 plus families and individuals, all, again, Calabasas residents we've helped. Variety of reasons, as we've talked about, rent relief, medical bills, car repairs, loss of utilities. And we've also assisted a few community organizations, but that's a very narrow field because they need to be based in Calabasas and working within Calabasas and Calabasas residents. Unfortunately, we're seeing an increase in need and requests, and I'm sure all of us are aware of what's happening around us, and we're anticipating more. All of our costs are rising in its rent, groceries, gas, utilities, insurance, all the necessities of life. And I would say honestly, it's the bare necessities too to keep us all going. Fewer companies are hiring. More jobs are being eliminated. It's harder for people to find work if they lose their job. And the biggest thing is more living, paycheck to paycheck. And that safety net does not exist anymore. So I'm going to give you a few examples. Obviously, no names, no pectoral here. But a situation, and I want to make a shout out to one person. He's not here, but Gabriel Graham, who works with you all know him. He's wonderful. He reaches out to me. In fact, I got to the point where he called to say, "What's up? What's happening?" He said, "No, I'm just checking in, make sure you're okay." So I work with him, and he is such an asset. I can't say that enough. But a situation, a young mother with young children escaping from domestic violence, even though she had a restraining order. And it was getting her a place to stay and take care of her. She was Calabasas resident, long-time resident. Single parent, experiencing the loss of housing due to recent unemployment. These things come up, and it's harder and harder to find work. She was struggling. We helped her with a grant, but we also helped in other ways, such as resume repairing. And I think you took me on fast. Do you want me to speak faster? No, it's okay. But there's good stuff too. It's like a recipient who had experienced job loss. And that created a temporary inability to keep up with bills. And he was able to receive a grant. He got a new job. It prevented house loss. Recent hospitalization of someone, they were trying to get disability, fell behind with their bills while waiting. And I'd encourage anybody, if you know you've got to go for disability, you start it early. It takes a very long time. A resident behind, again temporarily out of work due to disability, needed assessment with an emergency grant. Okay. Car repairs, which by a grant being given, this person was able to continue to work and not lose their housing. So rising costs again created a huge drop in a little business, and the person, long-time Calabasas resident, we were able to assist that person. And same thing with a single mother struggling. You don't see all these, we do. So these are a handful. Please go. There is something that you need to know. There is never, ever a time we go to one of these situations that we do not tell them. The people, this program is thanks to the incredible city of Calabasas. We always encourage them to reach out and say thank you, but it's difficult because they really want to remain anonymous. That's why we're saying it for you, to you, for them, to you. But thank you. It is an incredible, rare program. These, I won't read all these, but they're there for you to see how you continue to change people's lives. And you look at them, thank you so much for helping me maintain our life here. This one, how they spent the holidays not in dread, but in hope due to the help. They saved the house. They got back on their feet. So please, thank you. And there's a few more. And it's how the people are saying thank you. And it's truly coming from the bottom of their hearts. And it's hard. I wanted you to have copies of some of the thank yous we get. People say thank you in different ways. One of them tried to feed me a massive lunch that ended up feeding 6 people. But it was his way of saying thank you. Thank you for taking care of them. And we get called angels and so many times, but it's not us. It really is not us. So it's hard. You don't know how many lives you do touch every day. And this program continues to do that. And it makes just a few people, their lives a little easier and easier to go on. And as I said, we get to see this. We get the thank yous, but really, you need to get the thank yous, and you need to see this. It's such an amazing program, and thank you. And thank you with my fellow Rotarians here. Thank you for allowing us to do this. So with that, if there's any questions?
Well, let's, would anyone else like to speak on this subject? Any of the other members of the Rotary Club who are here?
Do you want to say something, Sherry?
Just again,
Well, Sherry, you have to come up because no one can hear you in the audience.
Come up.
And just state your name.
well, I've been a member of this Rotary Club for 30 years, so I've been around here for a while, and I've never, ever heard of the compliments that you are getting as a city. So I'm very proud of all of you. Thank you.
Okay. Any,
Sherry is one with me and with many. There's just the 3 of us that serve on the committee to interview the people. And Todd, did you want to say something? Because Todd is on the foundation board that has the final signature and listens to me nagging, quick, get it done.
okay, just state your name.
I'm Todd Gervis. I'm one of the foundation board trustees, and I'm the one who gets to cry each time one of these comes through. And I'll just echo thank you to the city of Calabasas for the giving us the honor of being your representatives for this program.
They're going to make me talk. Danielle Delagala, a teacher. So on behalf of students, I'm going to say thank you of all ages. I know the stories that they've shared, little kids, high schoolers, they all need so much, and the panic in these families' faces when they need something. So I just feel so very proud to still be a member of the Rotary Club of Calabasas and know that this group that I get to spend time with is taking the time to go through those applications, meet the people, and really find exactly what they need. So you are servicing your community in ways that you just have to feel really good about. We just get to do a little piece. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Any virtual, okay, so we're going to turn to council comments. David, would you like to start?
Sure. I would just say thank you for that tremendous report. We miss Manny, but I know he'll be back. I know how much all of you do and how incredible the Rotary Club of Calabasas is, not just with regard to the Neighbors in Need program, but everything you do year round. It's for the love of doing good. That's not the motto, but it's something that you do. And this is a tremendous program, and you do alleviate a lot of what could be issues for this council, or at least very difficult decisions. And we thank you so much for continuing to do such a great, great job administering this program and all you do year round. Thank you.
Ed?
Betty, that was a fantastic report, and I think the city really wants to say thank you also. You do so much. I think it's way beyond just Thanksgiving.
every day. When something happens, you never know when it's going to happen, and you're there like a beacon of light. So thank you for all you do and for your entire membership.
Peter?
Yeah, thank you. I have to echo that, and as much as we appreciate you sharing those thank yous with us, because it's always nice to know the good that this program is doing, we recognize that those thank yous are to you, because we're handing out a small check, and you guys are doing all the work. You guys are the ones that are interacting with the people that are in need. You guys are the ones that are maintaining the anonymity that they're looking for. You know, we could not possibly do this without you, so thank you.
I just wanted to echo everyone's thoughts. Thank you so much for doing such an amazing job with this program. We're very grateful.
And I would especially like to thank the Rotary Club. You know, you've taken on many things. You're very visible in the community. And I actually remember when we gave you the Neighbors in Need program, there were problems with the grant allocations because they weren't being done properly by the council. And it's so great to have an outside group willing to do this on a voluntary basis. I've heard too from many people who were very grateful and thank the city and the Rotary Club. I don't know if you get all of the, I'm sure you get some as we've seen in the brochure here, but we get some as well, and it's very well received and appreciated. So thank you for your hard work and for the presentation tonight. It's been good to have you here in Calabasas.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will now move on to item 7, which is the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department report. We have with us a special guest, Captain Dustin Carr of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Station, and there are other deputies here as well. I don't know if they're going to participate, but welcome, Captain Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, all honorable city council members. Tonight, I come before you partially to answer any questions, but first and foremost, to address our traffic efforts on Mulholland Highway. I understand there's a lot of community concern regarding enforcement on Mulholland Highway, speeds, modified exhaust, things like that. So I wanted to address them and then let you know what we're looking at in the future as well. So if we can go to the next slide. So first and foremost, the city of Calabasas has that speed measuring trailer that's rolled out to various locations in the city. The city was kind enough to share with us its data from that Mulholland stretch there, and generally it's taken from where about Gelson's is all the way to Calabasas High School is what we're looking at. And they gave us the top 25 times and dates of violations. And in analyzing that data, the average over speed limit violations between 14 and 15 miles an hour on any given day. But if you look at the times too, other than the Saturday nights, most of the times are commuting hours. That's some of the information we can draw from that data. However, you can't ignore also the speed violations that occur on the weekends. So when we're looking at this data, I do want to state that sometimes people are late getting home, they want to get home quickly, and they're speeding. We are enforcing out there, and we're going to get into that in just a second, but that's just what the data tells me, is generally how fast they're going over the speed limit, which is 40. So we're looking between 14 and 16 miles an hour on average. How many violators? So in a 2-hour period, you go from anywhere from about 24 miles an hour 24 violators, and the low mark is 17. If we can go to the next slide. So since January 1st, we've issued 74 speeding violations on that stretch of Mulholland Highway that I just mentioned. That may seem like a low number compared to the numbers that come from your speed trailer, but there are a lot of things involved in that. One is when we're doing enforcement on Mulholland Highway, we have to have the person there to do that enforcement. The speed trailer can catch everybody, and everybody knows that speed trailer is not going to issue them a ticket. I think they know what the purpose is for that, is to slow drivers down. It's one of the speed deterrents that the city has rolled out. And a lot of times it does work, but enforcement also has to be behind that. So we are enforcing the law there. And now, like I said, 74 seems low, and I'm gonna bring Sergeant Aarons is here with me. He's our traffic sergeant. I did send him out on a couple of occasions on Saturday nights to see what's going on out there and to see what we can do better, because accountability is part of improving ourselves as a sheriff's department. So if we can go to the next slide. So breaking down the numbers of the violations, we issued a lot of cell phone violation tickets and about 7 speeding tickets, and there were other. If you see the equipment violations, that's when we're talking about tinted windows, modified exhaust, things like that, the things that wake you up at night, especially if you live off of Mulholland Highway. So there's another number I wanted to share on a different slide about those equipment violations, and we'll get to that in a minute. So going past Calabasas High School, up Mulholland Highway, we issued an additional 27 violations between Calabasas High School and Stunt Road. Again, that seems like a low number, but I am going to get into our canyons operations in a second, and you'll see the actual numbers of what we're actually catching. And one of the things I wanted to mention before we get into our Operation Safe Canyons operations that we conduct on a very regular basis is that these violators generally start around here. We do catch them up the road as we head towards the Snake and areas like that. So I did want to point that out, that even though they may have woken you up, when we do these operations, we're catching them down the road and we're enforcing the law. So if we can go to the next slide. This is just a breakdown of our numbers. You can see once they pass Calabasas High School, speeding is the main violation that we're getting them for. And then there's some other miscellaneous, but speeding and equipment violations are the 2 highest numbers as far as those enforcement, as far as those citations that are issued. Go to the next one. So the other thing I wanted to mention is, are our deputies out there monitoring traffic on this stretch of Mulholland? Sergeant Aarons did a search of instances of us monitoring traffic. Now, deputies are not required by policy or procedure to put these observations in, but we have asked them to, if they happen to be monitoring traffic on Mulholland Highway, to do so, just so we can kind of track how often. So this is just an example incident. You can see it's occurring during key hours. They started about 9:30 at night, and they ended about 10 o'clock. And for the reason for the end could be they caught a violator, or they got a call for service and they had to leave that area. I mean, we'd have to look at the logs to know the reason for leaving, but they are spending time. If we can go to the next slide. Since January 1st, we've located about 48 times that deputies have been sitting out on Mulholland Highway, putting in these traffic traffic watching observations. Now, that doesn't include the times that the motor's sitting out there. They do their observations generally after the stop, because they'd have to have a mobile computer pull it out every time and put in the observations. It's not practical on motor enforcement, but motors are out there as well. So if we can go to the next slide. So these are the numbers I wanted to show you, and these are our Operation Safe Canyons numbers, and this is for 1 year of enforcement throughout our canyons, and we pay a lot of attention to Mulholland Highway. Sergeant Aarons could probably tell you that I'm always talking about Mulholland Highway and PCH with him. Those are our 2 major thoroughfares that we're concerned about, and Topanga Canyon is starting to tick up as well. Overall, in our operations, and this is the canyons, we've issued 1,631 citations. One of the numbers I do want to focus on is modified exhaust, 34 citations, other equipment violations, 235 citations. And I want to mention, sometimes people have exhausts that spit out flames and just kind of very, very odd modifications to their vehicles that's highly illegal. One of the things we have, tools we have, is we have 3 deputies on motors that are trained to send people to the state referee. The state referee, what happens is if you get sent to the state referee for an equipment violation, is you have to drive your vehicle to that office. The state referee has to inspect your vehicle to ensure that that modification has been resolved and it's brought back in compliance with the law before that ticket can be paid and it, gets signed off and goes away. So we have 3 deputies that are trained on that, and looking further, I met with Captain Perry from the California Highway Patrol. They're going to open up more classes for us, and my goal is to get all our motors trained and then everyone that works traffic trained in the future. So people will be able to send people to the state referee, and when you do that, you ensure that these violations are corrected on the vehicle. It can be very expensive depending on the vehicle as well. So it's to ensure compliance with the law. Then we want to point to the speeding tickets. 822 of those are speeding tickets. Many of them on, up Mulholland, passed into the county area. Now, like I said, I understand that we're talking about the county area and not the stretch of Mulholland and Calabasas, but I want to, again, reassure you that these drivers start somewhere, and a lot of times they start here in Calabasas. I know we catch them up the road, but these laws are being enforced, and they are to the benefit of Calabasas when we do these enforcement operations. As a matter of fact, speaking of operations, as we speak here, we have an operation going on right now. So we, and this was not actually timed for the council meeting, believe it or not. He brought me a date, and I said, well, that works out very well for me. But, so it was just by coincidence that it happened to be tonight. If we can go to the next slide. One of the challenges we are starting to face, and this is a new phenomenon, but if you've ever Google Maps somewhere, sometimes it asks you questions along the way, like, are police still there? And this is actually from Sergeant Aaron's shift Saturday night. Again, we want accountability, so sometimes I like a sergeant out there just to see what's out there. And within about 15 minutes of him being out there, he was tagged on Google Maps. And this is the screenshot from him being tagged. So I wanted to tell you that, when people are doing street racing, things like that, a lot of them are technology savvy, and they may or may not know that we are already there, sitting there. He still caught some violators, so not everyone's savvy enough to use this, but this is a new phenomenon that's been occurring, and it just presents an additional challenge, and it's just something I want you to be aware of. But I did want to turn it over to Sergeant Aarons because he has worked a couple of times on that stretch of Mulholland, and I just want him to share his general observations, how many sites he was able to issue, and how long he spent on Mulholland Highway. So, Sergeant Aarons, if you could just briefly speak.
I will say for this, when I got tagged, I tried really hard to untag it. Couldn't figure out how to do that, so yeah. I stayed there for a while. I was actually there for 2 hours. I got 3 citations for speed, and that was it. It was pretty much most of the time I was sitting there doing this because there wasn't a whole lot of traffic. I was also looking for modified exhaust. No cars went through. I'm sure anybody that was there on Mulholland heard my siren a couple times. It had one of the newer sirens that had a kind of a growler kind of thing on there. But I only got 16 miles over was the highest speed. Everybody else was roughly within the 40, 45, something around there. So it took a while for me to just get 3 citations just sitting there. And I was in the Calabasas High School where the football field is. I was blacked out. I was in a patrol car, so I'm kind of tucked away. But yeah, somebody saw me and tagged me. I've worked these stretches, at nighttime as well as during the day multiple times. It's very difficult to get speeding, especially for me in a car. It's hard to find a place to hide and then also to safely get out onto the road, etc. So that's kind of the problems that I'm seeing. I did go further down the road. We did have an accident, a fatality accident occurred earlier this year, further down over by Dry Canyon Cold Creek. So I was working that area, and I think I only got 1 citation during that time frame. In my entire time that I was working out there, I ended up with 10 citations, and I was out there for a pretty long time. So that's basically my observations. I am working it. My motors are working it. We have our dedicated motor, Deputy Bresciani. He is doing the best he can with the vast areas of the city, juggling the schools and things like that, and also hitting Mulholland in addition to. So we're going to continue doing our operations and as much as we can. I plan on trying to do an e-bike operation coming up very soon, which I'm not going to tell you the date because I don't want it to be published. But we have some innovative ways of trying to get them. The issue is when we have kids on bikes and they take off from us, we're not going to pursue them. That's just, the reality of it. We're not going to put somebody else's life in danger to try to catch these bikes. So we're trying to work on innovative ways to be able to do that before they can take off from us. So I'll leave it back to the captain.
Thank you, and thanks for starting on the e-bike operations as well. We're going to be expanding our technology on the e-bikes operations, and also, some successful things we did on our last operation was the utilization of our dirt bike trained deputies, and they became very handy in certain situations there. So we will continue to use them to our advantage as long as we have them. So we're going to continue to do speed enforcement operations on Mulholland Highway, and we can even do modified exhaust operations as well. I know when someone has a modified exhaust, it sounds like they're speeding even if they're doing 30 miles an hour, and it is definitely disturbing to the public, which is why, one of the reasons I am pressing to have all those deputies that we can train to send people to the state referee, because that is the most effective way. You can cite for it all day long, but if you're not trained to send people to the state referee, you can't send them to the state referee. You have to have specialized training and know what to look for on those modifications in order to do so. So once we get them trained, then that provides more accountability to that driver to get that fixed. Now, while it may not solve every modified exhaust on the roadway, it is, again, another tool in our tool belt we can deploy to help reduce this problem. Other things, possible DUI and driver's license checkpoints. That's something we're looking at. We have the grant. We have the grant already, or it's in the process. We do get DUI grants, and there's certain parameters we have to use for those. It has to be applied for every year, so we should be getting an answer soon on those. The other thing I do say is this does have to be a team effort with the city and the sheriff's department and even the public in general. When you're looking at what happened with PCH and how we had such good results on PCH, that was how things started rolling. We got, we partnered with the city, we partnered with the public and ourselves, as well as CHP, and there's something good happened there. So, and that's something we want to look at, maybe look at in some kind of scale with the city of Calabasas, is together, maybe we can help not eliminate this problem, but reduce it. Because even with all our partnership on Pacific Coast Highway, still we do catch people sometimes going 100 miles an hour, and that's not even an exaggeration. We catch 102, 106 sometimes. So even with all those efforts, while we've reduced the number of collisions, reduced the fatals down to the lowest they've been in years, you're still going to have some issues. And it's not going to 100% eliminate the modified exhaust and everything, but we're willing to work with anyone we can to make the problem better and to improve the quality of life of people on Mulholland Highway. So I believe social media campaign is going to be a part of it, because that was a part of it on Pacific Coast Highway. And, things that the city can share that we post whenever we get, reckless driver arrest or something like that. So definitely willing to work with the city on that. And again, working together is the way forward on this. Yeah, that's the way we're going to make this problem better. If we can go to the next slide. The last thing I wanted to mention is we have a traffic tips email. It goes directly to our traffic team. Please take a picture with your phone, LHS traffic tips at lesd.org. And that goes directly to our traffic team. So whenever you realize a lot of problems, please pepper that email with whatever issues you have, because that's going to help us understand what's coming from the public and where to direct our patrols in the future. And with that, I'm here to take any questions, whether it be from e-bikes, Mulholland, ALPR cameras, whatever you need, I'm here for you.
Why don't we do this first? We're going to start with public comment. So maybe if you just
Sure, I can step aside
just for a moment, and then we'll have you come back, because I know there's going to be other comments too. So we'll start with Mary Luevano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. And I see the timer has started, so I'll speak fast. My name is Mary Luevano, and I am a resident of Calabasas Hills, and I'm speaking on this agenda item specifically because there was an incident that happened that some of you may be aware of. On the night of July 4th at approximately 10:45 p.m., I was startled, as were my neighbors, to hear what sounded like gunshots, very loud noises that sounded like they were right in front of our houses. It was so loud that people came out, and within seconds my phone was pinging from neighbors saying, what's going on, what's happening? From outside we could see, I'm on Calle Largo in Calabasas Hills, we could see the school, Bay Laurel Elementary School at the end of our block, that there was what I would only describe as a professional level fireworks display. The kind that you would see at Disneyland, not the kind that you see in neighborhoods around the area. Not only did this terrify me and my neighbors, that the idea of someone setting off fireworks display in our area, knowing what the wildfire risk is just unbelievable. But for those of us living with elderly family members, disabled family members, young children, or pets, the idea of having to evacuate during a wildfire, which I have already had to do, and I'm sure many of you have as well, is not something that I want to do again. As a result of the fireworks display that occurred, there was a box that caught on fire in the parking lot at the school. I happened to go down to the guard gate to try and find out what was going on, and the fire department had arrived to put out the fire. But my neighbors and several other folks, including our guard, were trying to reach the sheriff's office. I know that the phone lines were very busy because there were a lot of people calling, but unfortunately no one was able to reach anyone and have a car sent out to find out who was doing this and what was going on. I sent you all an email, and I want to thank Mayor Bazagian and Councilmember Weintraub and City Manager Meek for responding to that. But I have a few simple questions as a follow-up. And the first is, why was it so difficult to get a response from the sheriff's office? I know that they were busy. I know that there were other things going on, but this was a pretty serious incident, and I want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And I wanted to know what is being done to find out who was responsible for this fireworks display. We know that there were lots of people out there. There were people probably from our community standing out there, people with cameras that probably caught some of this. I know it's not an easy thing, but I would like to help in trying to figure out who did this. And lastly, how can we work as a community and with the Sheriff's Department to ensure that this does not happen again? Thank you.
I think what we'll do is we'll have the sheriff just take those questions under submission and respond all at once when we get all the public comment. Okay. But thank you for your comment. Next, we have Mark Silverman. Welcome, Mark.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Silverman. I've been a resident of Calabasas since 1965. I'm on the Historic Preservation Commission, and I was on the Volunteers of Patrol for the Sheriff's Department for 20 years. Just a little background, I'm now working for the CHP. And as a side note, we work together with the sheriff, and I can tell you, we slowed the traffic down. It's unbelievable. But anyways, I'm not going to share my dirty laundry. I spoke to the sheriff, the captain, before he entered the meeting. He was kind enough to talk to me, and I explained to him my concerns. I don't want to air, my dirty laundry in front of them and you folks, but I think they heard me and I heard them, and I just wanted to give you my 2 cents. So, thank you.
Next, we have Rochelle Blanken.
Hello, I'm Rochelle Blanken. I've lived in Mountain Park for 22 years now, raised my boys, love Calabasas, love our neighborhood, but I'm very concerned. I've seen a significant increase on the hazardous driving on Mulholland Highway in the last probably 2 to 3 years. I probably witness it daily going up and down the hill, constantly cars speeding, going well over the speed limit, passing on blind corners, and most recently the crash in June with fatalities. I also see on a daily basis illegal U-turns in front of Viewpoint School by parents into oncoming traffic. So they are supposed to take a right and head down the hill, but they don't want to. They want to go left and head back over towards Malibu. So they just flip a U-turn right on a blind corner. I see it almost every day because I'm often getting my children from school. On weekend nights, we have noise right outside of our gate. It's usually cars drag racing or doing donuts, and you can go and see the skid marks the next morning. It wakes you up in the middle of the night, dogs are barking, kids are crying. It's almost every weekend. So I was rather surprised to see that more speeding tickets haven't been issued from the sheriff's department, and that makes me wonder, is that just how much time they spend up there? What can we do differently to change what's going on before more people die, before our children driving up or down the hill have accidents? So I do invite you to come park right outside our gate. We have a ton of room there, and you have a place to park and hide from the cars, and you'll get so many speeding tickets because they're coming up and down our hill almost on a daily basis, especially on the weekends. So I just wanted to say I'm very concerned. I want to know what very concrete changes are going to be made. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any other people in the in-person audience who would like to speak? Just come up, and when you're done, fill out the card afterwards. Just give us your name and your city of residence.
My name is Eric Lidoff. I live on Mulholland as well. We live a little bit further down. By the way, thank you. Truly thank you for the work that you're trying to do that hopefully we will get better at. My son actually had an accident. He didn't have an accident. He was hit by 3 guys racing in cars on Mulholland, right, turning a left turn into our house. So they T-boned him. They were racing so fast, totaled our car. That was 3 years ago. I respect what you're saying about being out there, but I am very much with you. This is insanity. I stand out on my street corner. I don't want to give my address here. I've offered the same thing the day that the highway patrol was there to deal with the accident. I said, please park in our driveway. It's well over 100 miles per hour, Saturday, Sunday, mornings and evenings. I've seen you guys out there, but not on the days that they're out there. I get that issue with the tagging. That's a real problem. I don't know how to solve that. That's horrible. Please, I want to make sure you know that I really support you guys. You guys are going to be the savior of what's going on out there. But it is so incredibly dangerous. We foster a dog every once in a while. I try to walk her out there at even 9 o'clock at night, and the racing is going on. It is, again, well over 100 miles per hour daily. I respect also your opinion on the sound of the exhaust makes it seem louder. Well, I'm standing on the street, and I've been around, and I was a reckless driver when I was a kid. I'm 55 years old now, so I recognize it. It is incredibly dangerous, and like I said, my son already had his car totaled. Fortunately, since the work that's been done recently, you have been out there. My daughter was driving to dinner a week ago on that stretch, and 2 cars passed on that blind turn over the double yellow, and you guys were there and actually gave out 2 tickets, and that is amazing. Thank you guys for doing it. She called me and said, you guys got him, and that's amazing. So that means there is stuff being done, but there is so much more to be done. I'm glad you shared that email address. I said to my wife, wow, I'm going to just take videos and send them to that email because it doesn't line up with what you guys are seeing. So not questioning whether or not you're doing your job, just saying that I'm not having the same experience. Also, there is the King Gillette Ranch events that go on. They're wonderful for the community, but they are releasing traffic into Mulholland from the events. They're the October and the Christmas events, and they're not diverting people away. So at 10 o'clock at night or 11 when they close, it is just pure mayhem going into the neighborhoods, into where we live and then across to the schools. I think you know which area I'm talking about, where we are. But and equally, if you'd like to come out, I could give a tour of the skid marks that are just littered all over the highway. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate the time, and thank you guys
Okay.
very much. Thank you.
So, Madam Clerk, do we have an audience? How many do we have? 1? 4. Okay, so I guess we're going to take them one at a time. When you get on the air, could you please state your name, city of residence? We'll take the first one now.
Thank you, and welcome to those who are attending remotely. Speakers are reminded that they are allowed 3 minutes to speak, must use a raise hand feature on Zoom to be recognized, and will be prompted to unmute only when it is their turn to speak. For those calling in, you will need to press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute your microphones. Please speak directly into your microphone and clearly state your name and city of residence for the record. We'll now begin taking remote public comments. The first speaker is Joe Chilco. Up next will be Joey Fowler. Joe Chilco, it is your turn to provide comments. Please unmute yourself and state your name and city of residence for the record. You will have 3 minutes, which begins now.
I'm Joe Chilco. I'm a Calabasas resident. I had a question about some of the statistics that Captain Carr gave us. When I looked at speeding, December, May, and June amount for 367 of the 822 citations issued. That's 44%. So that's pretty high. At one point, I thought I saw on a screen crossing guards, and there was a 9 beside it. Now, the print was kind of small on the screen, so I'm not quite sure if I really did see that. But if I did, what does that mean? People are blowing through crosswalks? In any event, you could explain when you get to answer the questions. And finally, when I saw an article in the Acorn about the use of flock cameras, I went to Council Member Albrecht, and I also spoke with Sergeant Cienfuentes about it. And I said, you know, people need to know how we use flock cameras in Calabasas, as if this is different than what that Acorn letter seemed to suggest. And I believe the gentleman who might have written it was here tonight. So I'm very concerned because I have a different opinion about it. I know that the flock cameras have been effective in particularly preventing some crimes and solving some crimes. So I'm not anxious to see them go when we only have 3 patrol cars. And I want to remind everybody that if they've got a cell phone, they've got a GPS locator on it, and people can know where you are with that as well. So privacy seems to come up as a big issue with regards to this, and I think that it's reasonable to look at those things, but also you need to be reasonable about how much of your privacy you've already given up. And that particular tagging feature on Google should not be allowed. I mean, that's unbelievable. Thank you very much. I appreciate the answers to my questions. Thank you.
Okay, we'll keep rolling into the next.
The next speaker is Jolie Fowler, followed by Courtney Tarbox. Jolie Fowler, it is your turn to provide comments. Please unmute yourself and state your name for the record and city of residence. You have 3 minutes, which begins now.
Thank you so much. My name's Jolie Fowler. I've been a resident of Calabasas community for almost 30 years. I apologize that I'm not there in person. I'm having to work. I want to thank the captain and the sheriff for all their work, for attending tonight and everything they do to serve us and to keep us safe. I am very, very concerned and think it's critical that we pay attention and correct the kind of driving on Mulholland Highway, the speeding, the passing on the other side, the blind curb passing, even the running of the red lights at Old Topanga and Mulholland. I hear the screeching cars. I hear the revving and the racing, and I don't want anyone else to die. A couple of things. I would love to know what the status of the decoy car is. I understand I know the city has one, when it could be used, and how long that would take to be used. There are ways to, as far as Google Maps gets, goes, you can untag someone by several people, approximately 3 people, saying this officer is no longer at that intersection or that position, and that person will be untagged. So that could be something that could be worked on. I would, as far as the speed radar and data. I understand that people speed, especially during commuting, but that's not the most of the concern I have. They're maybe going, as you said, 14 miles over the speed limit. However, they're in traffic for the most part, and it's the 30 and 40 miles over the speed limit that's when I really see the bad life-threatening behavior. I'd also love to know what Captain Carr sees as the biggest hurdle to stopping a much safer highway, and what the city and the residents can do to support this enforcement and improve that safety. Captain Carr, if you could let us know what you see the biggest issue is that could be changed. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Courtney Tarbox, followed by Kim Egerstrom. Courtney, it is your turn to provide comments. Please unmute yourself and state your name and city of residence for the record. You have 3 minutes, which begins now.
Thank you. My name is Courtney Tarbox. I'm a resident of Calabasas in the Mulholland Highway and Dry Canyon Cold Creek Road area. And first, yes, thank you for making the time to speak about this topic. It's incredibly important for our community and something that my neighbors and I talk about frequently, as it's incredibly dangerous and we see it on a daily basis. I'm wondering how we can take more meaningful action together and really address this problem. I live on the Dry Canyon Cold Creek, and it's used as a cut through where racers come down from Mulholland Highway and speed down our street where there are no sidewalks, and it's a very common street used by cyclists as well. I don't even know how many times I've seen cyclists almost get hit. I have seen some presence there and monitoring, but not on the busiest times, like someone else mentioned. Wednesday evenings, so tonight, and then all days on Saturday and Sunday are just incredibly problematic and so dangerous. My neighbor walking her dog was nearly hit to the point where a racing vehicle screeched to a stop and really swerved and very nearly hit her. And as we know, there have been serious accidents, including fatalities there on Mulholland Highway, and it's just gotten completely out of hand, especially given the popularity of cyclists using our street, which should be a lovely thing. We have pedestrians again with no sidewalks, and cars just coming around these curves at speeds that leave just zero margin for error, and it's very scary. We have families living, of course, these are residential areas. So I appreciate all the steps that have been described, that have been taken, and I'm just really curious how we can more comprehensively address this problem and what the community can do to help. I appreciate that email address being shared, and I'm curious if more documentation would be helpful. I have lots and lots of videos of racers coming down our street. If we can submit those videos to that email address, if that will help to bring about more change or presence to really address this issue, because it's just so dangerous and we're seeing more and more accidents. Thank you.
The next speaker is Kim Egerstrom, followed by Jory Wolf. Kim, it is your turn to provide comments. Please unmute yourself and state your name and city of residence for the record. You have 3 minutes, which begins now.
Hi, this is Kim Egerstrom. I am a resident of the Molewood area of Mulholland and Calabasas, a longtime resident, and I do live and work in Calabasas. I walk or drive along Mulholland every day. My kids walk to school when they attended the LBUSD schools. And over the years, I've seen the speeding get so much worse. It's a widespread problem, I know, and I don't know how to fix it. What I do know is that we can focus on local measures like those that Captain Carr's talked about to improve safety in our city, whether it's the decoy cars or increased patrols, or on the city sides, things like the recent tree and bush trimming that has improved visibility along the Mulholland Highway. I have personally had close calls as a pedestrian many times, both by speeding cars and distracted drivers, most of those in the crosswalk at Eddingham and Mulholland. So I do appreciate the upgrades the city made to that crosswalk a few years ago. And reading the report about the crossing guard violations, I can imagine where most of those had happened. I do hope that in the future we can upgrade that crosswalk to be similar to the one on Highway 27 Topanga Canyon at De La Osa, which has much brighter lighting to help make it more safe for walkers and students walking to school. Thank you so much.
Mayor, there are no additional remote participants.
Wasn't there Jory Wolf?
His hand isn't raised anymore.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're done. Next in order.
We had one more hand just raised.
Looks like Jory Wolf just joined in.
Oh, okay. That's
Jory, you are our final speaker. It is your turn to provide comments. Please unmute yourself and state your name and city of residence for the record. You have 3 minutes, which begins now. Jory, have you unmuted your microphone? We can't hear you.
Jory Wolf. I am a 35-year resident of Calabasas and a resident of Mountain Park. I do experience these infractions on a daily basis, coming and going to my home and work. And I don't understand why there's only 27 incidents from Old Topanga to Mountain Park Estates up the hill, because I can, if I was authorized to cite people, I could triple that amount, maybe even more. I have been passed on the highway several times, well, multiple times, almost every other day. And it doesn't necessarily happen only on weekends. There is a fun zone on Dry Canyon Coal Creek that was mentioned earlier by another resident, where they like to play with the turns on that road. And when I did an AI review of Mulholland Highway and car enthusiasts, it says Mulholland Highway has served as a legendary playground for Southern California car and motorcycle enthusiasts since the 1920s. And please know that all of us who live on Mulholland Highway can attest to that. The return of the snake for weekend drivers has brought back classic performance cars and Porsches, but also renewed friction in local residents over reckless driving, prompting a heavy Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department presence. And of course, also there's the famous gathering spots for enthusiasts, which is the Rock Store that everyone heads to on the weekends for car enthusiasts. This needs to really stop. And I have two issues. One is we need better enforcement. There is only one speed logging sign in either direction, and it's at Viewpoint School, but there is nothing anywhere else. So there needs to be more speed sensing signs on Mulholland Highway. And I'm also very concerned about the condition of the pavement. The pavement has a PCI, which is a pavement condition index by Public Works of about 30, a ranking of 30. Most of the streets in Calabasas have a ranking of 80 or above. This is a very dangerous highway, especially at Park South, across from Viewpoint Highway. There is a bulge in the road, and most of the cars going over that bulge are almost thrown to the right. And it's a very dangerous location. So I please ask for the Sheriff's Department to increase enforcement, to look at signage, and I look to the city to provide investments in the roadway. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are we done with public comment?
There are no additional participants.
Captain, why don't you come to the podium and
Or
you can address?
Can we make our comments so then he can include those?
Well, I thought it'd be easier for him to just answer these right away while it's fresh in his mind.
Okay, I just want to make sure we have an
Oh,
opportunity.
you're going to have an opportunity,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay, so I will start with the fireworks incident on July 4th. That was the first public comment, so I'll try and go in order for Mary Lovano. So the Sheriff's Department did respond. Deputy Cienfuegos followed up with responding deputies. They were on scene within 8 minutes. They did go through the parking lots with the fire department. They didn't find the burn box. Deputy Cienfuegos subsequently followed up at the school and again didn't find whatever burned there. Either it was cleaned up by somebody or taken by the perpetrators. But in both cases, I understand that the fireworks went off. I was in the area till about 11 p.m. on July 4th around here. I did see some fireworks going off in the area, so I know these things occurred. But, you know, they go from fireworks call to fireworks call generally on 4th of July. It's one of the busiest nights to work, and it's all fireworks calls. So I do understand the public concern, especially with our high fire danger. But I do want to assure the public we did respond, and we did follow up subsequent to that. So, I believe there were efforts to contact Mary about this incident for any information she has, and we're still willing to partner with her if there's any further, evidence we can gather from this incident. Let's see, on the next one. So on the hazardous driving, illegal U-turns outside Viewpoint, I understand that there's an enforcement issue. Now, Viewpoint, we do have a deputy there that directs traffic outside of Viewpoint, but they're there to make sure that buses can make a safe turn out of the Viewpoint school, because otherwise they provide a traffic break for them, so that otherwise that bus isn't going to be able to get out, and it's going to create a public safety danger. So insofar as enforcement there, again, those things, would be good for the traffic tip line. Since we're here, we're going to pass it on to our traffic team and have somebody monitor that area. I do want to state, though, as I go through these traffic issues, that our traffic area, or our traffic department in our station is the busiest part of our station. We have natural disasters, traffic, and burglaries that are our three busiest top things in our station. So they are our hardest working and our busiest. Where they do all kinds of operations almost on a weekly basis. So there's just a finite amount of personnel, but we're going to use them as much as we can, and as much as that is practical while they're still doing their normal duties. All these operations are in addition to their normal duties, and I do want to make that clear. There's a lot of comments regarding continuing up Mulholland Highway. Outside of the city limits, the primary traffic enforcement outside the city limits is the California Highway Patrol. While you've seen we've issued a number of citations, these are all operations that we get special money to conduct, and we use that money as much as we can to help the situation. So I did talk to Captain Perry. He's willing to partner with us on these operations to make them more effective. However, the general patrol there, unless we're driving through, we see a violation. On general patrol days, our primary areas are inside the cities. I did want to make that a note. And then the CHP generally handles traffic issues outside the city limits, up the canyons. That's why when they talked about the traffic collision incident, CHP was handling it, because they do handle the traffic issues outside the city limits. Talked about the status of the decoy car. Well, our decoy car isn't in good repair, and right now we do have a fleet shortage. We're starting to catch up, but we just don't have enough cars to put one of our general patrol cars out as a decoy car at this point. So, while I do think, yes, it could be a good deterrent, The fact of the matter is I do need those cars so deputies can go on patrol for now. If we do end up getting a surplus of cars, which I don't see in the near future, if I'm going to be straightforward, then we can look at that. But right now, the decoy car is in disrepair. We've tried to use it before, and we had to get it back to fleet because it had so many mechanical issues. So I did want to comment on that. Regarding the speeds of 30 to 40 miles an hour over the speed limit, most of our citations are over 20 miles an hour of the speed limit. So they are stopping the high-speed violators. That's really what they're looking for. They're not looking for 5 or 6 miles an hour over. However, that is illegal still and a citable offense. We are looking for the most egregious violators. Our biggest issue regarding making Mulholland safer, I don't think I can just pin it on any one thing. A lot of it is we have to have a change in behavior in the public is really what we're looking for. And that's going to be a combination of, possibly, looking at what we can do with the roadway, because there's a 6-mile stretch where there's just no traffic controls. And there's, also, we do have our personnel issues as well. And again, many other factors. And then we have people that just, they like to drive fast and show off their cars, and changing that behavior is going to be very difficult. A lot of that's going to have to do with forcing them when they get cited to modify their car back to its into compliance with the law. So there's no one silver bullet that's going to solve this. It's going to be a team effort, but it's also going to be trying to change the behavior of the public, which sometimes gets a little bit more difficult. I'm not talking about the general public. I'm talking about the people that are violating. Changing their behavior is where we're going to run into the difficulty. Let's see. Again, either we had more issues, Dry Canyon, Cold Creek area. Again, other than the operations that we get money to perform on these canyons, the general patrol, the general traffic enforcement is done by CHP in that area. Let's see, and then we talked, there was crossing guard violations. We do crossing guard street crossing operations. So when he's seeing those, he's probably referring to how many violators we catch not complying with the laws regarding crosswalks. And then see, we had the question on flock cameras. So overall, I'll call them ALPR cameras. We don't endorse a specific brand of ALPR cameras. The cities that choose to avail themselves of this service, they can choose from any number of vendors to provide this service. Flock, up until recently, was connected with Los Angeles Police Department, and then many of the other cities avail themselves. How we use it at the station, I think, is very important to address. One is not every deputy has access to the Flock system. You have to be a supervisor, you a detective, or work in our real-time watch center. So not the general patrol deputies, unless they're a detective working overtime, they don't have access to that Flock system. That's one. Two, there's a need to know when they access that. Flock has put up some more parameters. I don't know if they've done the software update yet, but more parameters, like you have to have a case number, you have to enter a case number, which is similar to when we look up other county-related systems. They request information from us that's pertinent to a case, so they know we're not just generally looking for someone's booking photo or something like that. We have to have a need to know. And so Flock has put up those, and they've reduced the retention from 30 days, I believe it's now 7 days. So Flock in its system, and I'm addressing Flock just because that's the brand this city avails itself of. But I will say this, on its effectiveness, when you look at the string of robberies we had, very dangerous, a lot of, very serious crimes. One is the city purchased cameras that we are able to access through our real-time watch center. Those helped by there was a person arrested originally, and those helped identify that person as innocent. We were able to get him out of custody very quickly once the detective got a hold of the video. So that's a positive. Second, the flock cameras reduced the time it took us to investigate this issue significantly. It may have been weeks before this person was caught if we did not have the ALPR cameras in place. Those cameras reduced, I mean, we had information very quickly, and we were able to, help solve this case very quickly and and make the city safe again. And that's what's important, and that's what the flock is used for. So again, at our station, up to this date, I have no knowledge of any of our flock information or really the city owns the information, but any of that information being shared or leaked at this point. Two is we have a need-to-know basis. It has to be investigatory. You have to have a reason to access it. Now, there are some hits that come up, if flock indicates a stolen vehicle. Three is it takes a picture of the license plate in the back of the vehicle. These systems don't take a picture of your face. And what people should know is if you're in public, for instance, if you're standing outside City Hall on the public sidewalk and somebody's filming everybody in their cars leaving, that's completely legal. And the law enforcement can't stop them from doing so. I know it sounds scary and dystopian, but that's the truth. So I want to say that, we do our best to keep your information. We use this system in a responsible manner, and we want to always garner public trust when we are availed of these tools. So other than that, I think I addressed just about all the issues. Some of them were kind of repetitive regarding, the same concerns on the same areas. So I want to give council the chance to ask me any questions.
So Ed, we'll start with you. Questions and comments?
Well, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to defer to Alicia. And the reason for that, I'm in Greater Mallwood. I'm a little higher than she is. Her house is right on Mulholland. So I hear the echo noise coming up. And we could have gotten somebody in Mulholland Heights to be here tonight, but it would be the same noise. She's right there. And I'd like to follow her, and please take the lead on it.
Is that okay? Thanks. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being open to hearing all of this. This is a conversation that we start with every captain, and we always think we're making progress, and then it stops. It is such a huge issue. We've always said, someone's going to die on Mulholland Highway, and someone did outside the city limits, but it is people's street race, the donuts. It wakes us up in the middle of the night. You can look at your call logs. My whole family, your number's on speed dial, not yours, the station. I mean, our neighborhood chat is all about street racing and just how dangerous it is. And it's not the times of day that you're out there, I don't think you're picking up the severity of this. It's night times, and on Saturdays and Sundays, the street clubs or the racing, whatever it is, there's never law enforcement out there. And I'm out a lot. Some of the callers, I see them constantly on my walks. I do a lot of work on phone calls, so I'm out looping Mulholland. And it is so dangerous. From my backyard, you hear it. We call all the time. Another issue is you call, and sometimes the people answering the phone are like, where is this? No, that's not Lost Hills. They'll say, you need to call CHP. I'm like, no, I identify myself. I go, I know this is Lost Hills. So there's a delay in response, but there truly is no law enforcement presence out on the weekends or at night in this stretch. And we have to do better. People call the station, they make reports. I echo what, I don't know if it was, someone said, you go out the next morning and you see where the donuts were in the street. You see it. There's physical proof, but it's in addition to the modified exhaust, which I understand that's a conversation my husband and I had this past weekend, because I was trying to video it. I'm like, are they speeding or does it sound like it? But there's just so much activity on the weekends. It's constant. It's so unsafe. And I just want to read real quick from a resident who couldn't be here. There was an HOA meeting tonight, but she just wrote, one of our residents was supposed to attend, but okay. She was a witness during the accident on Mulholland Highway a few weeks ago. She spoke to an officer on the scene at the time and wanted to give her statement, but was told they weren't interested in hearing from her. That seemed a little harsh and also not very efficient in dealing with the incident. The other issue regarding speeding on the highway, people don't understand why there aren't more police vehicles on that stretch of highway giving out numerous tickets. That to me is the only way to deter people from speeding. So I really ask if we could put someone out there on the weekends to see. You are invited into our gate. You can get a great view. You can come to my backyard. I know everyone that's here tonight has offered their homes, their driveways. It is such an issue for this community, and I'm hoping that you're the captain that can solve it after all of these years. So I have great faith in it that we can really fix it this time around. So thank you.
Are you done with your comments?
Yeah, we need help.
Okay. Ed, did you want to comment further?
Yeah. I'm not going to double up on what Alicia said. It is relentless, but on the good side, from what I hear on top of the hill, it's slowed down a little bit. I'm not sure what, mostly at night during the week. The weekends, still, it's loud and noisy. The invitation of having, when you're at Mulholland, if you have a vehicle you want to show off or a motorcycle club, this is a great place to come on the weekend and air it out. You know, you make the left turn on Mulholland, it's a 2-lane, it comes down to 1, so now you can do your thing. And it's a beautiful scenic roadway. It goes for quite a while. And then you have the return trip, which is just as much fun because it's just as long. You got your hands full. We all have our hands full. I wish we could help in some way, except point out to you the areas that really need to be serviced. Just one thing, I heard you say that the retention on the flock is now down to 7 days.
That's what Flock announced, yes.
Is that going to hurt a little bit? I think so.
Short answer, yes, but we have to work with the tools we have.
Okay, well, I'm not going to reiterate what everybody said. Thank you for taking the heat tonight.
Absolutely.
Peter?
My pleasure.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say we appreciate the Lost Hills Sheriff's Department and all the work that you're doing here. We love you guys. We know that you're the ones that we call on in the time of need, and you know, I want to express my gratitude. With that, I'd like to dig a little deeper into some of these numbers because I see a problem here. In the Enforcement Priorities Report, where you gave us the statistics on page 2 here, they're sorted by 50% volume and 50% speed. What that means is this list is the highest speeds of the most number of cars at the same time.
Was that the second slide?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. All right. That was.
You want to put that up there,
that
Michael?
was from the city, the city's speed data collecting trailer.
Yeah. So speaking of that, we as a city had some speed trailers, but we were told that they couldn't aggregate the data, so they were of no use. So we actually spent some money and bought some better trailers so that we could do this. In the top right-hand corner, just above the blue bar, you'll see rank results by 50% volume, 50% speed. That's why none of these numbers are drastically high speeds. I'd like to see this list. Does this list get printed by you guys or by us?
It's provided by the city.
Okay. So if we could sort this list just by speed, I want to know what the highest speed is there. And I want to know what time the top 20 highest speeds are, because I think if we do that, we're going to find it coincides with what the public is telling us, that it's Friday and Saturday night between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And Wednesday night. I don't know what it's going to say, but we've got all of this great data here, but I don't think we're sorting it correctly. So let's look at it as just the highest speed. Now that means when you guys go out there, instead of getting 5 tickets for people doing 55, you're going to get 1 ticket for somebody doing 80. But maybe that's what we need to be doing now to really stop this street racing, to send the message that we're looking out during the times where the street racing is happening. In looking at some of these other numbers, I'm really shocked. Our little stretch here in Calabasas, 22 speeding tickets, 101 violations, compared to the rest of the Canyons project 822 and 1631, we're like less than 5% of what's going on out there. How
That's
big
just-
is the Canyons project?
Well, that goes through the canyons. You're looking at Topanga, Mulholland, going down to Malibu Canyon, Stunt. There's Canaan, and sometimes we go further west, but it's not as often. But that's what the main concentration is this mountainous area in this general area surrounding Calabasas. That's really our main focus.
Well,
one thing I did want to mention on those numbers is the numbers we gave you are just the city limit stretch of Mulholland. And the numbers we gave you on the Safe Canyons were our Safe Canyons numbers when we're doing those operations. That doesn't account for the entire city and the enforcement in there. You'll find that when you look at your crime reports we provide monthly, that your total number of hazardous citations is far greater than that. And enforcement's being done in some other areas of the city as well.
Okay. And so I'd ask our city manager then, could you share with us at some point what percentage of violations these 101 violations represent compared to the same period of time since January for across the entire city? I mean, what we're trying to do, what we're begging you to do, is to focus your enforcement on this little tiny stretch of land. And I know you've got a lot more to patrol, and it's good to stop speeders everywhere, but we're hearing a big problem here, and we've been trying to get the focus here for a long time, and we're just gonna keep asking until we get it. We do have a motor deputy assigned to the city of Calabasas, and there's obviously lots of roadways to cover, but we're just emphasizing to you that this little stretch of road is our priority. You also mentioned that, the enforcements were over 20 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Most of them, yes.
Most of them. But what this report in front of us is showing us is that most of the violations were about 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. So
Right.
what we're finding here is the wrong time of day to be enforcing this. We're looking for the worst offenders. Because I think if we looked at any street in Calabasas, we would find a similar set of statistics that most drivers are driving over the speed limit. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the very dangerous events, the things that are hazardous to our residents pulling out of their driveways. That's enough of a tirade here. I do want to say I appreciate what you're doing. I just think we're focusing our efforts in the wrong spot. And I'd ask our city manager to work with us and get the right data in front of us so that we can quantify where this street racing is happening. I will say for the flock cameras as well, was not expecting to respond to the earlier public comment, but the agenda item that's in front of us is, if I can get the title of it here, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department report, so I think I can respond to it. It's part of what's in here. Almost a year ago when the flock camera issue started showing up, I reached out to our city manager and city attorney for some more information. And then I did so again about 2 months ago now. And for the public, what I did learn is there's California compliance rules and regulations for automated license plate readers, which are far and above the stories that we're hearing about other parts of the country. Those include that the devices have to be coded with the organization type, and ours is a government organization. It is not an HOA. It's not accessible to an HOA. It's got to be tagged with its location of California, meaning that it has to comply with the laws of the state of California. Hard-coded into these devices are the requirements that there's no user interface, there's 0 administrative overrides, there's source code has got to be reviewed by 2 peers before it's locked into the device, of 2 peer agencies, and there's an interagency share block in these. These, again, are the California requirements for automated license plate readers. The network participation requires the exact license plate match, and its mandatory search features must be filled out in order to do a search on it. I'm sharing this with the public because I too have read a lot of newspaper articles about problems in Atlanta and problems in New York. I am probably one of the most least likely person to vote for a flock camera. My location is turned off on my phone. I search in incognito mode. I don't like being tracked. I would be wearing a tinfoil hat, except for they're not allowed with the dress code here. But as far as the flock cameras in our city, I see them as doing good, and I believe the safeguards are in place, and I certainly respect the LA County Sheriff's Department and the way that they've been operating with our flock cameras, and I would suggest that we continue to do so.
Thank you.
Okay. You've made your comments, Alicia, so we'll turn to David.
David?
I'll shorten mine as well. First, by thanking you for being here and for the report and for the information and hearing the public and our comments as well, and hopefully coming to some new ideas, new solutions, if we can do that together. And it's not just the sheriffs, it's the city, it's the public, it's CHP, as you mentioned, joint programs. My colleagues' comments were spot on, I'll say. I'm not going to repeat them. I'll just say it's obvious this is such an important safety issue for the city. It's not about, it is disturbing. I can tell you I was one of the people who might have been one of the 878-1808 calls on July 4th because fireworks were going off for quite some time, many, many, many minutes. It wasn't just a minute or two, and they were pretty disturbing. And there's a lot of people you've heard tonight, and all of us, I hear going up and down Parkway, the same noise, or the modified vehicles, or maybe not, just speeding late at night on a regular basis. And it's all throughout the city. And it's not just the disturbance, it's the danger, it's the potentiality for loss of life or just tragic consequences. And that's what I think I'm hearing as an overriding concern. I know it is for all of us here. So it is important. Just a couple of quick questions and I'll stop. I know the decoys have not been working for a while, not been prevalent. I won't make a joke. What about the use of, and are you allowed to, do we have them, do you have them, unmarked cars, rather than having them immediately identified so you see the little hat and the uniform on an app?
You mean insofar as enforcement's concerned?
Yes.
We have to follow certain provisions of the law.
Right.
And in general, unmarked cars don't do traffic stops because they're not all equipped with the provisions of the law. So unless there's certain exigent circumstances that you can use an unmarked car.
Right.
But for the most part, we're prohibited from doing general enforcement in an unmarked car.
Right. I was
So
asked that, so I'm
CHP's
sharing.
new fancy cars have
Right.
the
The white
absolute
cars.
bare minimum that is required
Right.
for this enforcement. I mean, you can barely see that law enforcement symbol on the side of their car.
And
but,
they're nice
So I
cars.
know everyone has probably seen them around, but we don't have such a vehicle at this point on our department. So.
And again, you've heard all the questions and the requests to do more of the pleas. And please, we look forward to updated, exciting plans on e-bikes when we hear about them, additional safety, joint work with the city and CHP. But whatever we can do to help come up with some new ideas or new suggestions to help solve this problem would be tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a couple comments. First of all, I very much appreciate the Lost Hills Sheriff's Department, the Sheriff's Station, and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. This community has always been among the most supportive. In fact, all the cities here in the Conejo Valley are very supportive of law enforcement. I know firsthand as a career prosecutor what you guys go through, all you have to put up with. You get a hard time from the media, particularly the Los Angeles RAG, formerly known as the Los Angeles Times. And, you know, you don't get thanked enough. I have 2 points, questions and points. One is a question I get a lot. What's the most effective way for people to express to the sheriff's department, hey, not a particular crime, but just in general, there's speeding on my street, or there's problems with kids at night, or there's e-bikes accumulating and drag racing. How do they convey that most effectively to you in a long-term way rather than just a single crime?
There's a couple of ways. One is we did establish the traffic tip email. That's one way. But the other way is I have people from every city on the Community Advisory Committee. We usually open up for additional members in October, which we will again this year. But the people that come, we try to get leaders of HOAs or other concerned members of the community. And we invite them to come, and they get, we do quarterly meetings. They're usually about an hour or hour and a half, but they have, I go over general crime trends. I go over, we try to give them a presentation on the features of the department, but they also get one-on-one questioning with me for that time. And, a little bit of before and a little bit of after as well. So I think that's always a nice, effective way of addressing these things, because once I get this information, just like tonight, I have a list of things to go over with my staff. They give, I pretty much look at everything and see what we can do about each one of the issues that they're bringing up and try to be effective in that way. So Community Advisory Committee is definitely another way that is effective in getting us, on top of calling the station when individual incidents occur. So again, our community, what is it? I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought today. Our community relations deputies will be reaching out to the communities once October hits to see if anyone wants to become a new member. We do have a sign-up roster. We do have a limit just because of space and everything, but we have a good advisory committee. We have about 20 people on it, and that's a very healthy committee for the area we have. So we do have a limit number of about 25, but again, I always try to welcome people from every city that we serve to come serve on this committee, advisory committee, and give me their genuine, unfiltered feedback, because that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. The other thing is, some of us up here have talked about getting additional law enforcement services, additional patrols. We have some funding to do that now through Measure K. But we've been told by the Sheriff's Department, and I've been told by the Sheriff, that they don't have the personnel to give us. Like, the contract cities cannot purchase additional services at this time, and that they're working hard to get new deputies through the academy and ready to go. So do we have any kind of estimated time for when that might be available?
I don't have an estimated time on when the growth moratorium will end, frankly, but with the Measure K money, and we may be able to find another way, like we do the Safe Canyons operations, those are in the county areas. We may be able to, see if we can utilize that money for operations on your stretch of Mulholland and use that money to concentrate there. So there might be, even though I can't offer you another full-time deputy, I may be able to, depending on the provisions of Measure K, offer, maybe some operational operations on the weekends or something like that we could utilize those funds for.
How about in a very technical sense, we recently annexed some territory, Craftsman's Corner, as you know, that you used to patrol for the county, but now it's city land. Is there any exemption for that kind of situation where we acquire new territory? Do we get the opportunity to get additional services?
Not at this time. Right now, because of our staffing issues. Now, I will admit that our station has made strides. We've solved about half of our staffing shortages on the patrol front, but we're still short 18. So that's what we're looking at right now. So until we get to a healthy level of staffing, I don't think this moratorium is going to be lifted. So even if you annex, additional land, I would not be able to say that we would be able to add additional services at this time.
Okay. Please let us know when that might be available, or better yet, what opportunities there are for us as elected officials to lobby for that, if there are meetings or forums or agenda items or something that you have, because I think there is interest in the community.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, thank you for having me. I actually appreciated this, and
We
I
appreciate
all the
this, too.
feedback from the community.
Thank you very
so
much. So we've been going over 2 hours. Let's take a 10-minute break. Is that good? And then we'll come back and we'll discuss which items we might have to defer because it is getting quite late. Thank you. I know, it's going to be very... So We're going to move on to the next item, which is council announcements. Ed, do you have any council announcements?
Thank you. A couple things. I had the pleasure of being at the Palisades Village ribbon cutting, Caruso Shopping Center a week ago Saturday, and it's quite amazing. And I'm sure ours is going to look equal or even better. It was nice to see the community come back to life, and it looks like the Palisades is beginning to. I'd only been down there once or twice, but it was just an awesome. We got a wonderful developer, and we're fortunate to have him in our city. And pretty soon we'll have our own ribbon cutting, so that'll be exciting to participate in. The Calabasas Community Foundation is having, as I mentioned last council meeting, a golf tournament. It was scheduled for November 9th, and that's moved into May 15th to be able to give the committee an opportunity to make it much more of a splash event. And they're excited of doing it. We got a lot of sponsors coming in, so I'll be constantly being a nag about that and reminding the public. I think it'll be a wonderful moment. If you can't even play golf, you want to come by for the meal afterwards and meet and mingle, that would be great. And also, my last announcement, we bid farewell to our city trolley, where all of us took pictures on it. It'll be a little bit of history, and it was nice to see that, giving it a nice farewell. Those are my announcements.
Yeah, just one to add to that. The Foundation, which benefits Las Virgenes Unified School District, is having their annual carnival coming up September 4th through September 6th. It'll be at the Wizen Center. So come on out, bring the kids, have some fun, and help benefit our local school district.
Alicia?
Nothing at this time.
I don't have any additional ones at this time either. Let's move to our consent calendar, which is items 8 and 9. If there are no comments?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 4-0. Next, we have item 10, a public hearing, accessory dwelling unit ordinance update. And who's giving the report? We're going to forego our PowerPoint.
Correct.
But that is going to be placed online for the public. So just give us a verbal opening for this.
Yeah, and it's going to be very, very quick. It is an ordinance to completely rescind Chapter 1712-170 and replace it with a new chapter to bring our accessory dwelling units ordinance into compliance with state law. I do want to recognize that Tom Bartlett, who was recognized tonight retiring, did the legwork. So I don't want to take credit for his work. He did a lot of work on this, and he did a great job. So all the analysis is in your staff report, and I'm going to end it there. If you have any questions, let me know.
I don't have any comment cards from the audience. Do we have any comments online? Okay, we don't. So Peter, do you have any comments? Questions?
No questions?
Alicia?
No questions?
Ed? No questions. Okay, well, I have a statement to make, and it's just I'll give a short version of it. It is my good faith belief that we're no longer bound by the housing element, which means that I analyzed this when I reviewed it independently of the housing element. And I felt it was too restrictive of our own municipal ordinances and our own city rights. Many things, such as elimination of parking requirements. Those are things that vastly affect our community, and we cannot sustain it. The reason for my belief that we're no longer bound by the housing element is twofold. One is a continuing drop in California's population, which is now just hovering over 39 million, down from 40 million in year 2000. There is no need for, there's no nexus now between the housing laws and the reality. Second one is, in 2020, when Measure M was on the ballot, the Housing and Community Development Department of the state illegally funneled state money into the Yes on N campaign. It amounted to theft of state funds illegally used for political purposes. Chief among those violating is a thug named Zachary Olmstead, who really should be in prison for what he did, and hopefully someday will be. But in any event, he was promoted after he did that. And therefore, there being no other remedy other than disqualifying HCD from enforcing the rules here within our city limits, that is what my remedy is. I will now, seeing no other comments, is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
And this is to adopt the ordinance update, correct?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I am opposed. That is a nay, so it's 3-1.
And then Christy, could you read the ordinance for us?
I'm sorry, I didn't do that.
The ordinance introduced was ordinance number 2026-426, waiving the full reading of the text, rescinding section 17.12.170 of the Calabasas Municipal Code regarding accessory dwelling units and replacing it with a new section 17.12.170 regarding accessory dwelling units to align the provisions with current California law.
Okay. And I did forget to mention that Councilmember Shapiro had to leave during the break. All right, so it is passed. We're going to go on to one item of new business, and that is the Senior Center Advisory Committee. Kendon, do you want to give a short report?
Thank you, Mayor. As noted in the staff report, the city manager's office and others have met repeatedly and often with members of our senior steering committee to hear their concerns about potential development in the parking lot adjacent to City Hall. At our most recent meeting in July, the recommendation was brought forth that we might want to consider an ad hoc committee consisting of 2 council members, members of the senior steering committee, and then also members of staff, both the city manager's office and community services, specifically looking at any effects to programming, accessibility, and other matters to the senior center and in general to the civic center. So at this time, council, if you are so willing, we'd like to have a discussion on an ad hoc committee, and then if there is a recommendation to have 2 council members appointed to that committee.
Okay, Christy, is there any public comment? There is none. So I will start. I would like to be on this committee if there is, if that is okay. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody about this, so I don't know what interest level there is. We'll start out with Alicia.
I would be interested.
Peter.
I will defer to you, to the 2 of you,
Ed.
I'd be interested.
to the 3 of you.
I've served on that executive committee for a couple of years, so it does need someone from the city council. If you'd like to serve.
No, I mean, you would have priority. If you want to do it, I'm fine either way. We can flip a coin.
I'll take it. I accept it.
Okay.
Okay, so then the motion would be for myself and Ed to be on the committee. Is that correct? Okay, would someone like to make the motion?
So moved?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's 4-0. Councilmember Shapiro asked that we defer item 12, which is getting late anyways, which is fine. Can we just defer it without a motion, Pam, I'm assuming?
You can do it by consensus and just provide the date to which you're referring the matter.
Okay, what is the next, September 9th?
September 9th is our next scheduled meeting, and we will work to make sure that it's not a crowded meeting. We'll look at either September 9th, but that would be preferable.
Okay, September 9th, and that is the end of the agenda. Verbal reports. Ed, do you have anything?
The Valley Economic Alliance tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and beyond that, not much until we get into the month of September.
Okay. Peter?
Nothing to report?
Alicia?
Nothing to report.
And I do not. Kendon, do you have a city manager report at all?
Nothing to report tonight, Mayor and council members.
Okay. So the next meeting of the city council will be on September 9th, and we are at 9:35 adjourning.